Today, we're going to cover a fundamental aspect of brake service, removing and installing drum brake shoes and wheel cylinders. This is crucial for ensuring vehicle safety. We'll focus on best practices and proper lubrication for long-lasting repairs. Safety first. Always wear safety glasses and gloves, and ensure the vehicle is properly supported on a lift resting on the locks, or with jack stands after jacking it up. Never rely solely on a jack. Before we remove anything, let's inspect the brake drum. Look for any scoring, cracks, or excessive wear. If the drum is damaged beyond repair, it will need to be replaced. Next, we need to retract the brake shoes. Locate the self-adjuster mechanism, usually at the bottom. You might need a brake adjusting tool or a small screwdriver to turn the adjustment screw or lever and retract the shoes away from the drum. This will make drum removal easier. If the drum is stuck, avoid excessive force. Double check that the parking brake is released and the shoes are retracted. Now we can remove the brake drum. Gently pull the drum straight off the wheel studs. If it's still stuck, sometimes tapping lightly around the edges with a rubber mallet can help break it free. Be careful not to damage the backing plate or any brake components. Once the drum is off, take a moment to inspect the overall condition of the brake assembly, looking for any signs of leaks, damage, or excessive wear. Our next step is to remove the brake shoes. Start by detaching the hold-down springs. These springs keep the shoes pressed against the backing plate. There are usually specialized tools for this, but sometimes you can use pliers. Be careful as these springs can snap. Once the hold-down springs are removed, you can detach the shoe return springs, which pull the shoes back towards the center. Remember the order and orientation of these springs. Taking a picture beforehand can be very helpful. With the springs removed, you can now lift the brake shoes away from the backing plate. They are usually connected by the self-adjuster mechanism and sometimes a parking brake strut. Carefully detach these components. Now is a good time to inspect the brake shoes. Check the friction material thickness. If it's worn down to the wear indicators or below the manufacturer's specifications, they need to be replaced. Also, look for any signs of contamination, such as brake fluid leaks. Now let's address the wheel cylinder. Inspect it for any signs of leakage. If you see brake fluid around the dust boots or the cylinder body, the wheel cylinder needs to be replaced. To remove it, first disconnect the brake line fitting using a flare nut wrench to avoid rounding off the fitting. Be prepared for some brake fluid to drip. Then remove the bolts or pins that secure the wheel cylinder to the backing plate. Once the brake line is disconnected and the retaining hardware is removed, you can take out the old wheel cylinder. When installing the new wheel cylinder, ensure the mating surfaces on the backing plate are clean. Install the new wheel cylinder and secure it with the bolts or pins. Then, carefully reconnect the brake line fitting and tighten it to the manufacturer's specification. Be careful not to over-tighten. Now, let's focus on lubrication. This is crucial for smooth operation and preventing premature wear. You'll need a high-temperature brake grease. Apply a thin layer of grease to the brake shoe contact points on the backing plate. These are the raised pads where the brake shoes slide. Also, lubricate the threads and the pivot points of the self-adjuster mechanism, as well as the parking brake strut contact points if applicable. With the lubrication done, we can install the new brake shoes. Reattach the self-adjuster mechanism and the parking brake strut. If removed, position the brake shoes onto the backing plate, aligning them with the wheel cylinder push rods. Then reinstall the shoe return springs, making sure they are seated correctly. Finally, reinstall the hold-down springs, securing the brake shoes to the backing plate. Now it's time to reinstall the brake drum. Make sure the inside of the drum is clean. Slide the drum back onto the wheel studs. It should go on smoothly. If it doesn't, double-check that the brake shoes are fully retracted. Once the drum is on, adjust the brake shoes until they lightly contact the drum. This is usually done by turning the self-adjuster screw or lever in the opposite direction we did for retraction. The manufacturer's specifications will provide the correct adjustment procedure.